Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 509. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Zellner.
Hello.
Mark Augustiniak.
Hey.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games, brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, Season 11 continues. Our month of competition heats up with Windjammers 2. More on that later, but first I'd like to know, Matt, which fake video game sport do you hope could become a real world sport?
It wouldn't originate from video games, but there is a video game adaptation of it exclusively from the series of books it came from, but Quidditch would be real weird.
You're one of those now, huh?
No, not one of those, just
All right.
actual real Quidditch, not running around with a holding the broom between your legs like an asshole on a college campus. I mean, like, legit flying in the sky, because that means shit's happening in the other ends of the world.
Yeah, that could be. All right. I like the train you went down there. Book to game to life. I can follow it. Mark, what about you?
Hey, what was the question?
Which video game sport do you wish could become a real world sport?
Tron.
Oh, that's also good. Yeah. Okay.
Just all of it. But
You.
well, actually, I didn't realize how on the nose I was with that answer. Given today's
No, that's on par for
episode.
Mark. I'm surprised. That doesn't surprise me you said that. I am surprised that Matt did not say Blitzball. But
Wasn't on the mind.
runner-up.
It wasn't on the mind. It's not, that wouldn't, I don't know. We have games similar to that. I was thinking, I feel like there's probably in some world out there where cars are crashing into each other, with a soccer ball trying to get them into the net out there somewhere. That's why I didn't say Rocket League. 'Cause that's my first initial thought.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good one.
Yeah, that would.
Especially with the, like, going up the walls and shit. Like, that, defying the physics piece of it.
I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, I would too. Mostly knowing like how your cars in that game always land on the roof, and then like that.
Yeah.
This is gonna kind of in vein with my previous answer, but it's making me think about it. I guess. Okay, so Mega Man Battle Network, right?
Mm.
Everyone has like their own, personal net navy, whatever, and they had a game that was just a tournament mode of that, where you just verse each other, and that could be interesting if somehow that was translated in real life, but like I don't know. At the same time, I don't know how exciting it would be to watch. That's the only problem.
It could be.
It could be.
I think anything can be.
Yeah.
My mind went to, after you said that, my mind went to Pokemon, but I guess that's based on bug fighting, and we kind of have that anyway.
I mean,
we can
well,
have that.
that would be cool, actually. Even more so with, is it Sword and Shield? It had the Gigantamax or whatever, or Dynamax?
Oh, yeah, that would be a spectacle.
yeah,
But
like...
now, also, like, the real world ramification of that is that you're making animals fight each other, and I feel bad about that.
Well, they're monsters. They're not animals. It makes you feel better.
That's true.
No.
And I guess they kind of speak their own name, so it's less, they're a bit more human, or they seem more sentient. Yeah, this is probably not, like, I feel like a BattleBots, but that was a TV show, not a...
You know that's still going?
Count. Is it?
Yeah. And, like, I've seen clips here and there online, and, like, it looks good still to me. But,
I haven't
course
seen it since was it Spike TV? Is that where it was initially?
Oh, I don't know if it might have been. I don't know if it was on Tech TV before that.
No, I think you're right. All these dead channels that. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they might as well just call it like flippers because that's what every robot is now. It's just like if you can get flipped and not get back up from your flip, you're done.
No, I want the one with the big buzzsaw. What cuts through the other one? Cut it right in half. And the real answer, of course, is Windjammers. We could actually pull this kind of stuff off in a frisbee match. I'd be quite impressed. Windjammers 2, developed by Dotemu, published by Dotemu, released on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Google Stadia, Microsoft Windows, and Xbox One, first on January 20th, 2022. The back of the box reads, incredibly fun and intensely addictive. Windjammers, the perfect blend between sports and fighting game, is the adrenaline rush you're looking for. Face the best athletes from around the world and become the best jammer in the world. 6 playable characters with their unique specs. Sharpen your throwing and sliding skills. Use the best techniques to defeat your opponents. And then there's little flavor text all around the screen or all around the box that sort of just reiterates those things. Throw the disc into your opponent's goal. 2 unlockable mini games, dog distance and bowling, etc., etc. And this, of course, so the game was digital release only, but Limited Run Games did partner with Dotemu to release it physically. So this is where I'm grabbing the back of the box quotes. This is a sequel to Windjammers. We'll talk a little bit about that one in a minute. But Mark, you added Windjammers to our list. Why?
Yeah. A few reasons. I mean, one, I like the first one so much that I was looking forward to this. So it was a surefire way to know that I was gonna play it regardless. It'd be cool to talk about it. I like how it looks visually. I'm a sucker for some nice hand-drawn stuff, and Dotemu is usually pretty good with that stuff, especially like Streets of Rage 4. And I wanted to add a little more variety to the types of games that I add to this. And I think before it was. Well, I guess it's not that much variety, but it's on par with my NBA Hang Time submission. More like the arcadey side of sports games or what have you.
Yeah, it was a game I was surprised when you added it to the list. Not that, but it was a nice surprise, and I think you hit your goal. The original Windjammers, what's your background with it? Was that a MagFest deal? Was that arcade? Where did you get your time with it?
Honestly, I think I remember like that exposure blew up out of nowhere one year.
Yes.
And I don't know the history with that game. Like, I don't know if that is actually like an old relic that got revived, or it's just designed to look like that. And I can't remember if it was you or someone else, but like, I believe Giant Bomb or somebody from that was playing it, and I think that was my most exposure to it.
Yeah, same. I had never heard of the game before, and then out of nowhere, Giant Bomb started playing it all the time on. What did they have? They had Thursday Night Throwdown, I think, is maybe where they did it first, or I don't know. But they had a lot of live programming, and they would play it there a lot. And then it would come up in their Game of the Year discussions, like their. What was it? We did a category like it. What did we do? I know theirs is best old game. I don't remember what ours was now.
So, like, is it actually like an older game, or
Yeah. It was, let me jump to it here. 94 was the release date in arcade. In February, worldwide arcade release, 94. It would hit Neo Geo in April of 94.
Neo Geo.
And then I think, I don't know if you can solely attribute Giant Bomb's playing of the game to its increased popularity, but it did lead to, or something led to, a release of the original on PS4, Vita, and Switch between 2017 and 18. And then the sequel was announced. I gotta see here. Announced in August 2018 during a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, okay.
And then,
that I remember.
Yeah. It was scheduled originally for 2019. Was delayed until early 2020. Again to 2021. And then finally released on January 20th, 2022.
So yeah, I think just us hanging out and you just having that on the TV was the start of it.
That could be it.
Full circle.
I did go back. I played a bit of the first one. So Neo Geo is one of those platforms I never quite got configured on MiSTer appropriately. And then when I look at the list of games, it was like, well, most of this is fighting games, and those are best done with other people, so no need to go down this hole. I was always like, there's plenty of other stuff to play, don't need to bother with messing with this. But I finally messed with it to get it working ahead of this recording, so I could play the original. And I played the original after playing a good chunk of 2, only to find that when they made 2, they basically just made 1. Like, not to be reductive, but they took the solid formula that was there and they made another one of them. It feels very similar. I feel like if you know how to play Windjammers, you can jump right into Windjammers 2 just fine. And I think the same goes backwards. If you know or learn Windjammers 2, I think you can apply those skills very easily to the original. Matt, I'm curious what your approach was. I mean, I came into 2 fresh into 2, but you've not played the original either, right?
No, this is my first time playing Windjammers. I would say I have dabbled in the frisbee competitive genre with a game called Disc Jam, which has similar mechanics, but is more behind the back and not top down, kind of like third person behind the back. Think of like any kind of tennis, any kind of regular tennis game, that kind of angle. So yeah, I guess I had that experience, and I was kind of shocked to see a lot of the mechanics, carry back and forth. I'm sure Disc Jam got their mechanics from the OG Windjammers. But no, this one's fresh, and I think my biggest takeaway is I am mad at myself for missing the boat of the initial release of this game when it was probably at the height of its online play. Because I think I could have really gotten into this game. This is one of those that's like right up my alley. So yeah, I know I dug it a lot. But no, this is my first time playing Windjammers for sure.
Yeah, I think Disc Jam was my first exposure to something like this as well, because it hit free for PlayStation Plus when it launched.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, gotta check it out. And it was good. A thing I see often when reading about Windjammers, and it's also appropriate for Disc Jam, etc., is that it describes the game as kind of a combination of, obviously, the back of the box quote calls it the perfect blend between sports and fighting game. And I feel like that's appropriate. I think we should talk about the fighting game aspect of this quite a bit. But it also points out the similarities, especially when you're playing Windjammers top down, to air hockey, as well as tennis in a way. I think volleyball is another obvious comparison, just because of the beach setting, but the rules of volleyball are a bit different than tennis, and this one kind of adds an actual goal to it, like air hockey would have. But this very much feels like a good combination of all of those different sports in one. Matt, you've got a tennis background. How's everybody's air hockey background? Do you guys have an affinity for it?
I fucking love air hockey.
I like air hockey. I don't think I'm very good at it.
No, like more than half the time I try to I overcorrect. Like I will react so quickly that I end up scoring on myself.
Yeah, I think everyone does that.
Because of my
But
reflexes.
no, I do the same thing.
I do the same thing in Windjammers. But yeah, we had an air hockey table as kids. It was like, I think my aunt and uncle were getting rid of it because my cousins had grown up to be too large to enjoy air hockey. But my brother and I were still small enough to enjoy air hockey. Mark's making the face like, how do you become too large to enjoy?
I'm assuming it's a small table. It's not.
No, it was massive. It was one of the NHL branded like full size.
Oh well, then yeah, I'm puzzled. How are you?
No. When I say too large, I mean they got too old and became too cool to be playing air hockey in the basement.
Gotcha.
They hit that teenage stage where it's and to be fair, when we would eventually hit our teenage stage, the air hockey table became a place to sit or drink or put stuff on that weren't air hockey. But yeah, I loved that thing. Once we got it, like there's nothing like the feeling of the air coming out of the jets or the puck slamming you in the knuckles. Real lot of good tactility.
Well, that's the other question. Not to make this an air hockey episode, but do you grab it by the handle, or did you like claw the edge of it and have the handle in front of your knuckles?
I'm gonna tell you, it was a bit of both. It depended on the session. It depended on the aggression. It depended on the current win streak. I felt like I would get into claw mode when I needed to really dial in. But if we were just kind of hanging out, then yeah, it was a non-claw situation. But you did have more control and power behind the claw. But you risked, of course, the finger smash.
Yeah.
I kind of want an air hockey table right now.
You should.
Yeah, I need to figure. I've got the room.
And,
I think. Not really.
And I guess to bring this back into Windjammers, I would have like my own quote technique for air hockey.
Go ahead. Yes.
Where I thought I was so cool. It's like when it's like, no, it's nothing. It's actually nothing, and everybody does it. There was nothing special to it, but I would now I'm trying to remember it. I'm pretty sure I would take the handle and like kind of like spin it, but it's still in my hand.
Okay.
I mean, I'll kind of spin it almost like a top. I mean, it's not upside down, but I'm still, my fingers are still keeping it centered so it doesn't fly off anywhere. And then like I will lightly after that I would lightly hit the disc sideways in front of my goal, right? So it's just slowly going, I guess horizontal, I guess might be the direction for that. Slowly to the left or right. And then as it's going slow like that is when I will try to like, at the same time, I'll try to quickly hit it in the opposite direction. So if it's sliding to the right, I will go and hit it real quick to where, bounces off and shoots to the left all the way straight up. I don't know. I thought I was trying to be cool by trying to like psych people out by like going slow and then hitting them with a fast one.
No, I'm following. I'm only confused because now I'm backwards. Are you talking about air hockey or Windjammers or both?
Air hockey, but
you could apply it.
If we translate this to Windjammers, because in Windjammers everybody has their own like special moves. Whenever like that's usually activated when like the frisbee comes when it's like lobbed in the air, you can stand on that like reticle. It will charge up and have your own, and like the disc just moves, like the frisbee just moves in its own way. It just defies physics. When seeing that in Windjammers, it would make me think of like my stupid little moves I try to make in air hockey.
So. because there was a science to also like that was the thing too, because obviously if you're guarding your goal in air hockey, your hand's going to hover right in that center of the table, and your opponent would either try and go around or whatever. So there was an art to sort of baiting them a little bit, right? And you kind of can do that in Windjammers as well, where you're moving yourself into a certain direction, hoping that they aim somewhere, hoping that they aim for the 5-point spot and that you get back in time and don't overcorrect to let a 5-point goal get past you. I think to return back to the fighting game analogy, self-described fighting game analogy, but I think it's also apt. You choose from different characters in this game, and there are 11 characters, right?
Yes.
I think 10 from the start and 1 unlockable.
Mm-hmm.
And each of them has their own kind of special move. Each of them have their own stats in terms of speed and power. It's really just a balance between the two. But as you... Did you guys play many of the different characters, or did you kind of find one and stick to one?
I was trying a few.
Yeah. I think I tried like half the roster.
Yeah. And you end up playing, if you play arcade mode, you end up playing a good amount of the roster just in a single run. But I was kind of spending predominantly most of my time in arcade mode, just running through to see if I could get good and learn the mechanics of it. But I think it is very comparable to a fighting game, because it's, you know, there's the game you're playing, but just like a fighting game, there's the game that you're both playing that's not being seen, right? There's the mental challenge of a fighting game that comes into play here, where you're balancing your skill, the character stats, in this case, the environment that you're in, because also the stages really make a difference in how you play and your approach to throw, block, whether or not you're aiming for a wall or you're going for straight shots. Like, you know, I found myself often banking, but yeah, some stages you couldn't always rely on that. So you really needed to understand the stage as much as you did the character, your opponent. And then there's also fighting game input stuff. Like there are quarter circle and double quarter circle moves that you sometimes have to do if you're going to get an edge over more competitive play. So looking at it from that approach, Matt, you're not huge into fighting games, but did that hurt your gameplay, help your gameplay? What was your...
Yeah, when games kind of take this approach where like the roster kind of matters a little bit, I kind of have to play a few games on the extremes to kind of see what I prefer and then kind of dial it in from there. But I was also trying to use the roster to see the special moves. That way I could like predict better in arcade mode or like the occasional online game I actually got. So that way I better could predict how to block said special moves or that special pattern on that character's special move. But yeah, no, I think I found myself resorting to speed more than power in this game.
Same.
But I didn't overbook it. It was either like half and half or close to, I think the farthest I would go is like 3/4. I would try to find.
So who was your kind of like main?
There were the two in the character selection screen. There were like the two girls in the top right corner. I found myself kind of going to them. I think the one, I'm trying to find names.
Hiromi?
Yeah, Hiromi, or there was someone. Oh, Sophie, the French one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I found myself going towards them. Although, like I said, I tried a couple characters, but I feel like, Sophie was more where I was landing.
Yeah. Mark, did you have a kind of default or a handful that you were?
I was mostly trying speed at first, and then, because I think one of the newer characters, I think it was like the kid with like the red sunglasses. I forget his name, but whenever,
yeah,
he has like a yellow shirt on, and I knew like his victory thing was him skating around and fist pumping. But if I wasn't him, I think I went for a more balanced approach, and I was I forget his name, but he's a bottom right column. He has like a bowl cut. I forget his name, but I think he's from.
He new or old?
Sammy?
It might be Sammy. I think he's an older. I think he's a veteran.
Yeah, the one with the yellow jacket and the red sunglasses was Raposa from Brazil. I played him a good bit too.
Oh, you did say sunglasses. I thought I was looking at bottom right. Sorry.
No. I mean, but bottom right in the character selection. That's who I ended up. Yeah, Sammy. Sammy's who I ended up.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Leaning to, because I was starting to realize that like wasn't necessarily the case with him all the time, but some of those special moves, like a fighting game, like when your meter's full and they just like release their own technique. I feel like if you're a more power-based character and your opponent goes to try to catch your special, I don't think they can catch it. I think they just get knocked into the goal with it.
Your timing might be framed better. I think you can block anything, but I think the more power, the more, I don't want to say frame perfect, but their timing is definitely more narrow. Because I noticed that too a little bit.
Matt, you said the occasional online match, was it not? And I know you mentioned earlier that it seems like you may have missed the window on online matches. Was it tough times to find opponents? No one's playing it?
So it wasn't tough in the regards that I found kind of like 4 unranked matches in a row. The one time I kind of went looking. Again, I only went looking one time, and I don't want to even say it was maybe the prime time hours. I'll preface that. But no, the one time I did go looking, I got about 4 games in a row unranked, but it was against the same guy or person on the other end, and I never won a game against them. So then I was like, oh, maybe I should go to ranked play, and I was searching ranked play for 5 minutes before I gave up on that crusade. But yeah, I like I said, I might have missed out on it, but I was not considered in my scoring and overall likeness of this game when we talk about it. I just thought I mentioned that because I think I would play this game a lot more if the online community was kind of there. But this is awesome to play. I mean, kind of like fighting game style with people around or navigating online with your friends.
Yeah, I think I ended up buying this on PS5 or PS4, but yeah, I think had I bought it on Windows, then maybe we'd play more online. I think this is a perfect candidate for a Friday Night Pizza Party game. If listeners out there find themselves hosting a Friday Night Pizza Party, I would recommend Windjammers. I am seeing on SteamCharts.com that currently, as we're recording this episode, there are 14 players online playing Windjammers 2.
Okay.
It is, in the last 30 days, a positive 218% gain in players.
Okay.
So, it's on the rise. And I'm assuming once this episode goes live, it'll be even more. If I check for regular Windjammers.
I probably bumped it by 50%.
Yeah. In the last 30 days, it says there's been 4 additional players to the regular average. So
I might be one of those 4.
Yeah, you both are probably the 2 of those 4.8 in the 30-day games that this game is.
I had, because at this point I thought, okay, I'm just going to have Game Pass, and it's on there. And then I ended up not having Game Pass anymore. I was like, oh crap, I actually need to get this game. And then I got it, and then after playing it, I ended up refunding it.
So did you not like it?
I mean, I guess not. But it's not as bad as you think, I guess. I just knew that I like it, but I can already tell it's not something I'm going to keep coming back to. So I ended up, that was kind of my decision to just not keep it. Like, I just didn't want to pay that price for a game that I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
So I should have just went back to Game Pass and just paid for a month and just did it that way. But after playing the first one so much, it was hard to not think of the first one when playing this.
Yeah.
And I do feel, even though it is more of the same, there are some differences.
What did you experience in that regard?
I feel like the difficulty is harder, even on easy. Like, I was doing arcade easy, and I was still getting my ass whooped. And I wasn't sure if it was just me, because it's been a while, and I'm just, like, not understanding the controls, maybe, because, like, there's different types of throws, and now you can jump and, like, spike the frisbee or whatever. But, I went back to the first one just before recording, just to make sure that, like, I'm not crazy. And, like, yeah, like, the first game is definitely easier to jump into. And, like, the gameplay just feels a little tighter. Like, everything feels a little... Like, I know, like, throws can be slow, and they can pick up speed as you kind of gain the momentum. But it felt a little harder to achieve that momentum in the sequel. And you need to reach more points to get a victory. Before, it was just 12. Like, if you make it to 11 or 12, you win. Now you have to hit, like 17 or 18 or something like that, too.
I noticed it was 15 when I was playing.
I had
that
15.
was the sweet spot, 15 for me.
Okay. Yeah, it took a little more, and so because of that, it just, like... It was just kind of like a little bit of a bad combination for me, I guess. Where it's just, like, just struggling the entire time for longer. And, even though this has mini games in it, they're only playable through the arcade mode. Windjammers, you can go into versus, and then you can pick what type of game you wanted to play, and you can do some of those mini games. It doesn't always have to be just versing each other. So it felt weird that, like, the menu, even though I enjoy how quick and simple this menu is, you can just jump in and play and no bullshit. But it's, like, a little too simple for a game that has a lot going on in it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like... So I overall, I think the core game I think the game is great. I think the game is fantastic. I think playing this game felt fun. I think there's a lot of variety in the characters, the stages. You go everywhere from the beach to a rooftop to a casino to a junkyard. It's all over the place. I think all of the art is...
I love the art.
I love the art, but it's also like the house style of Dotemu, which... I don't know. I like it, but it just makes it feel less special because I know that that's what Streets of Rage looks like. I know that that's what Shredder's Revenge to a lesser extent, because that one still has some sort of like pixel approach, but it still has that same kind of flavor to it. But definitely there's a strong bond between Streets of Rage 4 and this game. Again, not a super negative. It's just sort of like the wow's not there, I guess. I don't know. But overall, again, I like the animation. I love the detail in like the characters. Like, you know, even though they're small, short little animation cycles, there's all of these like unique animations throughout the background characters and things like that.
Yeah, like
that are fun to watch while you play.
Yeah, the presentation, like they're top of the charts for me. Visuals, I could watch it all day. It's amazing to look at. I feel because it is so well animated, I feel it affects the tightness of the gameplay to me.
I felt like it was I didn't get that impression, but what did you?
So
what's your experience?
I mean, it's probably just me, and maybe I need more time with it. I think that's probably just that's what it chalks down to here. But like for example, like the motion of throwing the frisbee. I don't know how many frames they drew for that, but I can feel like that's already more than drawing with pixels, and it's only probably like 2 or 3 frames for that.
I see.
So I feel like everything just, even though it's like milliseconds difference, I feel like in that sense, like I don't know, like I just the speed, it doesn't feel as fast to me. Like it takes more momentum to get to that point. To me,
I get what you're saying. No, that's valid feedback, and I think it's like, or criticism rather, and I think it's those tiny seconds do make, or milliseconds make all the difference in a game like this when it's so reactive. You know, or when you're getting started, you want to feel it move, and when you're responding to a throw, you want it to feel snappy.
Yeah.
To bring my other point full circle, like as much as I love the presentation, I love the way it plays and feels, I do think the game is like lacking options for something released in a modern era. Like it is very bare bones. I mean, hey, what's the full retail price? $15. So I think the price reflects that. Granted, I don't know if it launched at 15, if it has come down since it's launched or something like that. But, you know, you have an online mode, an arcade mode, a local multiplayer mode, period. In the arcade mode, you know, there's 3 difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. Or is it easy, normal, hard, whatever it is. But to Mark's point, even easy is pretty tough when you are not used to this game. Overall, the difficulty does feel significantly challenging. You really need to learn to get good. You know what, Matt? You're the best at playing video games of the 3 of us. Did you find that it was difficult, or did you kind of naturally fall into it?
Yeah. This is my issue with the gameplay. Actually, I kind of disagree with I think the gameplay is super tight. I like all the mechanics. My problem is the difficulty, and not because of the difficulty. I don't mind where it was at easy, normal, or hard. Although I never got myself to hard. Normal was kicking my ass. It's nothing helps the learning curve. That's my problem. There's a how to play section, and it's literally screenshots of a character doing something, and I don't know what a smash is, right? Like I see the button combination, but I don't know what am I doing this? It tells me use this in midair, cool, but I don't know like what my use case is for it. I don't need necessarily like a tutorial, but they had some kind of like video, like they had the control and they had like this description on the left hand side, a little like video showing the use case for it. I think that would encourage you to use it. That way you can kind of see a scenario where it makes sense and kind of start to mix it into your gameplay. I didn't really know what a thing was until I saw an AI opponent do it. And then I'd be like, oh, is that? And I found myself actually going into the how to play like 5 different times to kind of realize like, all right, this is the smash. This is that thing. This is what this is. And I was like, I'm going too back and forth too much into how to play when I could be set up in a little bit more better way. Again, if you want to give me a tutorial, great. I don't think I need it. I just need something. Like when you go back and play Rocket League, the first time you play on a brand new account, you are put into a cinematic. Maybe I don't know if they did this at launch, but since the Epic launch, you are put into like a cinematic like game, and it's putting you into moments, and it's like they teach you 4 things, but you have to do them, and it kind of teaches you like, all right, you do the boost and roll mechanic to really hit a ball. This is how, like, it kind of explains some of the physics. It explains passing a little bit. And, like, from there, you're given the basics, what you do with the basics from there, that's where the learning curve comes in and the hours of gameplay or whatever. I just felt like they never gave me the tool, or that it was such a rough start to the learning curve where I want to be at after about an hour. I feel like I still don't know all the mechanics of this game. And after about an hour and so many matches, I should at least have a gist of how to use different things. Whether or not I'm using them effectively, I'm good at it, is another thing. But I still don't know the best. I still don't really know why or how to use, I know how to. I don't know why or when to use a smash. I feel like every time I've used it, I've failed, and I just haven't seen a use case yet for it.
That's perfect. Like I had the exact same thing. I did not feel good at those aerial mechanics at all, so I would just rely on ground play and reactiveness rather than doing things that were a bit more proactive. And I think that's like, to Mark's air hockey analogy earlier, like, Mark got good at the one move because Mark played a lot of it and saw what other people were doing or learned the whatever. And like, yeah, maybe after 40 hours of this, you would probably get to a point, but
I would need to see, like, I feel like if me, you, and Mark played, us three played, we would never see the advanced techniques because we don't know how to use them. We would just be sticking
unless
with
we did it by accident. There were a few times where I pulled something off accidentally, like one of those crazy moves where I didn't, just the way I was moving my character backwards and then down and forwards, I ended up accidentally doing quarter circle things before a volley, and it,
Yeah, so I would say that's, and I think it's a relatively small complaint, because if you put in enough time, I just haven't put in enough time yet, I think you would figure all this out, and you would get good at all the different advanced techniques. But I just, without seeing, without an online community kind of get my ass beaten in a way where I'm seeing the use cases, I would never know. So that now requires me to watch like YouTube tournaments or some kind of tournament, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. I'm sure something's out there that has high level play. But then it reminds me, I need to go outside of the game to kind of learn, and that's just the game not kind of giving you all. I don't think it's giving you all the tools effectively to learn how to play this game. However, I feel like after about 15 to 20 hours, though, once you kind of get up on the hill of that learning curve, this game can become real fun real quick.
I think so. I think it'd be good if we were playing locally and just hanging out as an alternative to a fighting game. But to your point, like Street Fighter 6 does that exact onboarding that Rocket League does, where it's like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Do you want modern controls? No? You sure? Are you sure? Do you want modern? No? Okay. And this one did not do that, or have the option to do that. I really did, for as much as it does feel like a fighting game. I was missing that kind of just training room, right? Like where you can go and you can practice combos, you can practice things, you can see your input on the screen, so you can like watch.
To be fair, I never opened the practice mode, so I could be talking at my ass and it could all be there. But I know I did see practice, but I felt like that was just like throwing. It didn't seem like I don't know. The game never invited me to go there either. It wasn't like, hey, you should start here. Or in the how to play section, it was like, to learn these moves, go to practice. I figured I'd just pick it up and go. So I might be speaking out of my ass here. It could be completely wrong. In which case, I kind of take back everything. But again, in my view of this, I just think it's just, instead of it's going to take you 5 to 10 hours to really get the hang of it, it might take like 10 to 20. It's just a matter of how long until you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and you haven't played the first one?
No.
Yeah, I'm curious how quick it might be for you to adapt to that versus this one, because there's that, like, you notice a difference, like the fact that I was able to win even on normal, I was even able to win matches left and right, and then it just like coming to this one, it felt like I've never played it before. Like it was almost like gaslighting me in a sense. It's like, but do you know what you're doing? It's like, what? I know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Am I? Maybe I don't.
Yeah, Matt, no, that there is no actual like training mode or anything like that. The tutorial is the how to play thing that just gives you that kind of whatever, but there's not an actual training in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. We talked about it. You said Street Fighter, but like MK11, I can literally see the video, the input combo for it, and then it's my turn to get it, and it tells me when it gives me like a green check mark, like, all right, you pulled it off, congratulations, that's what it's supposed to look like. And you don't have any of those three things going on in this game.
Yeah, no, that would have been welcomed. But again, overall, I mean, hey, listener, we are here to pick this game apart and nitpick it as we prepare to rank it against the rest of video games. So that's where we're being a little critical. But generally speaking, I think as a fun, sports fighting game, you can't go wrong with this.
Oh no, like I still, despite my struggles, I still recommend it. Either one, but like, I'm trying to think. Like, this one's probably more accessible because of Game Pass and whatever. So yeah, like yeah. I would still definitely recommend playing it regardless, whether it's with friends or by yourself or what have you.
And I can tell you, because I waited a good part of the last 6 months before finally pulling the trigger on buying it, it does go on sale quite regularly. Because I was kind of always monitoring that to like, should I jump in now? But yeah, it is accessible. I guess final thing before we hit our ranking. I did like the dog mini game a whole lot. I liked being able to. The first time it happened, I didn't realize what was happening. But once I figured it out, it was fun.
I think I got it one time because I was trying to win games on normal and it wasn't working.
Yeah. That dog mini game is in the first one, and you can just play that as an option.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize that one was in the. Okay. Yeah, you should have been able to do that in this, because that was very fun. All right. Is it time we rank this thing?
Yeah, it can be.
So.
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, my review of this is it's weird. My scoring's kind of middling, which listeners you can check out over at thefreecheese.com. If you go to the article for this episode, but my words are much more positive, I think, because I do like the game. But then when we go to rank it against other games, boy, is that difficult. I think as a complete package, that's where this starts to fall down the list for me. But as a core experience, I think the game's pretty high. So I'm conflicted.
I think I have a spot.
Please. What are you seeing? What are you thinking?
And we know usually I tend to start low and then work my way up after we talk. So initial spot, the new 35 right underneath Bomberman.
Oh, okay. I don't hate it, actually. I think that fits as, like, we're talking about Friday Night Pizza Party games. I think Bomberman 93 is the Friday Night Pizza Party game so far, outside of Wii Sports, but I could dig it. Matt, what are you thinking? Sorry, Mark.
No, you're fine. I mean, that's as close to the middle of the list as we're probably gonna get with this right now. But like, Yeah, just kind of going with what you're saying. Like it's not a bad game by any means. I think because of its history and where it is now, like it does kind of ride that middle wave for me, where like it is kind of more the same, but it leaves just a little bit more left to be desired still. But it's just because I like it that much that I just want it to succeed in everything.
Matt, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I was high up the list, but no, the more I think about it, I'm never going to play this game ever again by myself. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So like I have to think about like the other games that have so much to offer me and going back to it. And while it has great potential, it just it's like Perfect Dark in a way again for me, where I won't ever play that single player or its campaign. But man, if you told me to get on Xbox Live and play a couple rounds with ridiculous things, I would do that in a heartbeat. But I think the package is better than Perfect Dark and gameplay wise. I think this is super tight. I'm pretty relatively high on this. Yeah, I kind of like that 35 spot.
Where were you?
I'm not going to argue with it. Let's lock it in.
Because like the highest I was going to go with it. I think my ceiling was the new 30. Like I wasn't going to go above Double Dash.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I agree. It couldn't go higher than that. Oh shoot.
Yeah, my problem was I looked higher up the list. I started higher up the list. And I didn't see comparables in the 20s. I was my initial thought, which I knew I was probably gonna have to come down on, was the new 21.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Oh, I like this game a lot. It's just a shame that it's going to be buried.
I could actually. We're locked it in, but I could see.
I totally missed Double Dash being at 29. No, I'd rather. Nah. Like Metal Gear's in there and stuff. Yeah, no, that's fine. I like it at 35.
Very good. We have it at 35. Go check it out. .mu's Modern Classic. You can check out the write-up for this episode on thefreecheese.com, along with our June write-up, where we announced what we're covering this month, which next week picks up with NBA Street. A PlayStation 2, or more than that, it's multiple generations of, or multiple platform release back then. But yeah, we'll talk about that one next week, rank it, and carry Season 11 forward. Until then, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Goodbye.